All right. Appreciate you guys being here this morning. We're just kind of give you an update on what we've done. I know the three of us have talked, but just to kind of review, we're coming off of our bye week where we had three goals, three things that we were focused on as we took advantage of that time. The first was to do a full self-evaluation between myself and the coordinators as we went back and looked at specific situations, see where we can improve, see things that we need to continue to build on. So we spent our first couple days of the week in the office doing that. During that time, all seven of our other assistants were on the road recruiting throughout the state. One guy went national. Bart Miller went national. A lot of time in the Midwest, a little bit of time in kind of the South area there in Tennessee. But Bart went national, and the rest of us were in state. And then the other of us, the coordinators, and I joined the recruiting trail on Friday and Saturday. And then the third thing that we wanted to spend a lot of time on was with our developmental group, our younger guys. Both in the weight room, we amped up everybody's weight workouts last week, but we also spent a lot of time with them in practice, coaching them individually. Got a chance for our younger coaches, our grad assistants, to get their hands on doing some full-time coaching duties, and I got to have some fun and do some true coaching myself. So it was a productive week. It was a good week for us, and feel like we come out of it in a good place. Talk about Western Kentucky. This is a very good football team. You know, I understand what their record is, but they went toe-to-toe with Illinois. This is a powerful offense, as you guys know. 4 major categories. They're ranked in the top 10. Their quarterback's going to be all motivated and gassed up for this week as a local product. I remember Brandon from North Broward Prep. He's a good football player, and he throws an accurate ball and throws it on time. So we have a great challenge there. They have a big running back in number 33 who, all indications from articles are that he's going to be back. He got nicked up in their last game, but it sounds like he'll be back. They have 6 players with 18 catches or more, so they spread the ball around. They really, like a lot of these timing offenses, I followed Coach Petrino at Arkansas, so I have a little bit of an understanding of what this offense is about. It's timing, and they're going to take what they feel you're giving them, and you can see that philosophy being used by Coach Brom, which makes sense. Defensively, they're very athletic. They've got good size up front. They're in the 290, 300 range inside and the 240, 250 range at the defensive end spot. Their Mike linebacker is very productive as their leading tackler as well as their boundary safety, so they've got good players on that defense. They're very multiple, which creates challenges. 3 different fronts, 3 distinct fronts, and 3 or 4 different coverages that they mix in a lot. So that creates some challenges that we look forward to. A couple other things before I turn it over. We all know it's a noon kickoff, so hopefully we get a great crowd to get an early tailgate. Encourage the students to come out and meet us at our Owl Walk, which has been unbelievable for the first 2 home games, has really been a positive effect on our players. The team should arrive around 9:45, so hopefully we'll get our students out early. The other thing to make note of is, Chuck, you were with us. We were part of a function down in Coral Springs in the spring with a family by the name of Peros. Nico is the son. Nico is suffering from a rare blood disorder, I will make sure and say this right, called Fanconi anemia. His family, they're going to be a part of our week this week. They're going to come to practice on Friday. There's some messages going back and forth. I've been communicating with the family and normally wouldn't talk about this publicly, but the family wants to raise awareness for this disorder, this blood disorder. So they are going to be a big part of our week. They're going to be around our team. This young man is and the family, they're an inspiration in terms of this young man's fighting for his life, and this family is all in. You saw Chuck, when you were there firsthand, the camaraderie when all those fire departments came together to help raise awareness for this young man, and they're going to be a big part of our week. So anything you can mention about that, I'd be grateful. And with nothing else, I'll turn it over to you guys. They're going to come out to practice on Friday, the dad and the son for sure. That's something we can talk about, you being there if you want to be there. I think it'd be a good thing.
As you look back on the first 6,
yeah,
how much frustration is there that the results just weren't on the table?
Well, I think you're looking at a 2-4 team that's a couple plays away from being a 4-2 team, or a 1-5 team, and I made that clear to the players as well. That as you grow as a program, and you're in tough ball games, you're in conference ball games, and you look at our conference standings. There's 2 teams that are undefeated, and a whole group of us that have 1 loss, including us. So the thing you learn as a program is half a dozen to a dozen plays during any given game are often going to be a differentiator. And it does, the obvious does show up in terms of turnovers hurt us. I think everybody could see that. But there's some things we could do better on third and medium. Defensively, we need to mix it up a little more. We got somewhat predictable at one point in the season, so that'll help us. We convert some catches. Jay Warren, very productive, but we know he's had trouble holding on to the ball a number of times during the course of the year. So there is open competition at the running back spot. We haven't determined who the starter will be, nor will we determine that until closer to the end of the week. But turnovers, big plays. We're doing a nice job with penalties. We're top 10 in the country in terms of fewest penalties, so we need to hold on to that discipline and continue to focus on maintaining possession of the football. And we're a block away on at least 5 to 7 returns, both punt and kickoff included in that number, where we're about to break it. And we've got to finish those blocks so that we can make a game difference type of play on special teams.
At this point, Western Kentucky is probably the most powerful offense in the conference right now, statistically?
Statistically, yeah. I mean, they're top 10 in total offense, passing offense, third down conversions, and I forget the fourth, but yeah, they're extremely powerful offense. And like I said, it's not like you can bracket one guy. There's 6 guys with 18-plus receptions, and it's unique in my background in that the pass is setting up the run. They do have success in the run. I think they're in the 60s in terms of their statistical ranking, if you want to factor that in. But on film, they're effective at running what we call one-back power. And a lot of that is because people lighten the box to try and account for their pass game. This is a good offense. They're up-tempo. You can see some teams struggle to get lined up. So we've got to do a good job of getting prepared this week for what I am not at all surprised with the background, that lineage working its way back with Brahman, Petrino, and that whole crew. Coach McGee, who's at Louisville, back with Coach Petrino, who was the head coach at UAB last year. He's a great offensive mind, and you can see that lineage showing up on film right now.
When you think about the bye week, is that are you sort of grateful that when you look at this sort of team that you get 2 weeks to sort of prepare, whereas, last week, or the last time you only had, 3 or 4 weeks coming from UTSA to FAU?
I think I'm more grateful in terms of the timing of the bye week for us. I think it was a great time for us in that we needed a couple guys that were nicked up to get back to be healthy. I think we needed a mental break. We had a long six game run there with 3 significant road trips in terms of flight times and those kind of things. And we battled and we fought, and we didn't finish a couple of the games that we could have and should have. So it was a time to regroup, take a look at those things, take a look at our personnel across the board, all 3 phases, and it was a good time for us to evaluate ourselves.
Who would you say was some of these nicked up players that the bye week has allowed?
Just some bruises, bumps and bruises, not even stuff worth pointing out individually. I mean, it's guys that you get a week back, you get a little rest, you get healthy.
Jensen was telling us about this ball drill you had of different guys carrying balls around the campus and telling the students to knock them out, basically.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where'd that come from?
No, I mean, most of us have seen the movie, and really it came from the offensive coaches. They asked that some of the guys do that, and it's just a mental emphasis. I forget what was the name of the movie where the kid walked around. You guys don't remember this one? It was The Program. Am I that old? Chuck, you have to be with me. You don't remember The Program? Okay.
I remember that it existed.
Yeah. So it really is just a mental emphasis, and we're adding in some ball security drills, and I'm walking around when kids are standing and they think they're in between a drill and punch it out and cover the ball, and just trying to create a more awareness of where the ball needs to be covered up, and how often.
He's older than I am.
I won't say.
Is that maybe the biggest disappointment, the turnovers that you've had? I mean,
It's certainly.
such a big emphasis.
It is. When you look at not beating ourselves, which is something I've said since I've walked in the door, we're proud of the penalties. The turnover ratio is an issue, and it's something that we've got to get fixed if we want to win football games. We're like I said, we're that close to being a 4-2 undefeated team in the conference with a 4-2 record with a challenging first half of the season schedule. It's not where we are. I do believe things happen for a reason. We are building a program, and If anything good came out of it, there was an emphasis on details across the board during the bye week, to the nth level. You better take care of your business all the time. On time means on time, not 30 seconds late, not as the bell is ringing, on time. And it's those details that carry over into winning games. I hate to reference another game, but I'm going to do it. You look at, and they didn't win the game, but you look at the distance that Arkansas has come in a year. And our kids noticed it before I even brought it up, and I did bring it up. And I'm proud of what Coach Bielema's doing, and I'm not surprised. He's building a program. We are building a program. Yesterday morning, I was in the squat, or in the weight room. Ray Ellis is 6 inches from getting 550 up. Josh Kendall got 500, and he about jumped through the ceiling tiles. Little Ronnie Scott almost put up 400 pounds and talking in the squat rack. This is real stuff. This is stuff that carries over time. 37 handpicked guys in the developmental program. Greg Hankerson asked to be in it because the older guys are recognizing what's happening. Then you add in the emphasis on nutrition. We're building a program. And am I disappointed in the turnovers? Without a doubt. We need to get that fixed. But we're building a program, one that Palm Beach County is going to be very, very proud of in the near future.
How will your latest injuries to David and Brandon affect how you, I guess, scheme or call the game defensively against a spread offense like Western Kentucky?
Well, you know, the fortunate thing in terms of a spread offense is you're going to play a lot of nickel. You know, we will miss David Lozendier and Brandon Bryant's production as well as their leadership when we're out there on the field. They both bring energy. We'll miss that. We'll miss both those guys. The fortunate thing for Brandon Bryant is prognosis is good that he'll be back for next season. It's unfortunate, like we've talked for Lozendier, that it's too late for him to get a red shirt or get his year back. So we'll miss those guys. But to answer your question directly, won't change a lot. We'll take a look at how we'll rotate the defensive tackles. Schematically, you can't make a wholesale change when you lose a defensive tackle. What you could do is if you're in an obvious passing situation, which is more often with a team like this, you can move some ends inside, some guys with some athletic ability to help accelerate your pass rush. But the challenge with a quarterback like Brandon in an offense like this is even on 5-step, he hits his 5th step and delivers. And there's a decent amount of 3-step drop in there where he hits his 3rd step and delivers. There's a lot this week about being in throwing lanes with the D-line as much as there is getting pressure and sacks. The tighter coverage we can be in, obviously the better chance you have of getting guys there, but their offense is designed to deliver on time. So it's really those guys being disciplined. I know it's a long answer to your question, but all those things fit into the conversation.
Coach, I know you mentioned how important it was to use this body to reevaluate everything that's gone on. But as a first-year coach, how would you evaluate the way you've coached the team so far?
There's definitely things I can do better, without a shadow of a doubt. You go back to the play in Wyoming where we ended up turning it over. There were some things I wished I had done at that moment. There was some communication that I wished I had used. You know, I wished I had looked all 11 guys in the eye and made sure they understood, guys, all we have to do is execute this play and remind them of some obvious things. That is something I regret. There's things I'm learning every single day. We had that company Catapult in. It's already adjusting our practice. Simple things, you know, how to better affect one team segment versus the next. Something as simple as moving field goal from after flex to a period in the middle, to drop their heart rate, drop their production, which then drastically affects the next team period. Things like that. Those are just some of the examples that I know I can do a better job of. But part of it, too, is stay the course. I've been very lucky, and I've spoken to a lot of colleagues over the bye week. That's something else you do as you're evaluating. You talk to Brett Bielema and Barry Alvarez and Dave Dorn and Chris Ash at Ohio State and all these guys that you have relationships with for years. And at the end of the day, like I've said in here a million times, it's not rocket science. Beat a block, make the catch, break up the catch, protect the football. Play clean. So stay the course. Develop your kids. Build a program with stability and recruit. and recruit, right? Recruit. And all those things coming together makes something special about to happen right here.
Are you sort of excited for the opportunity that Freeman's going to get, knowing that he's probably going to be the logical person to slide in for Hilton Deer?
I am. Yeah, I am excited for Freedom. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to process the name. Yeah, absolutely am. Freedom is a very athletic young man. He's someone that needs to learn the value of overtime in terms of studying his playbook. Now that this opportunity is here, that has risen. That focus has risen to where it needs to be. And that's really what held him back from playing more, was execution of his assignments. And fortunately, with this opportunity, Andre Kirk, being a leader, has brought him in and done some things to help accelerate Freedom's knowledge and awareness of what his job is all the time. So in any positive performance that Freedom has this coming week, Andre Kirk deserves a lot of credit also, because we're limited by the rules. We can only meet with them and be with them so much. That's where your leaders really come into play. You know, and Andre Kirk pulling him in and going through what his responsibility is. And fortunately, we have a senior leader like Andre that knows all three linebacker spots and can really help him achieve that.
Can you offer some specifics as to how the developmental guys, or how their weeks are different than
Sure. First, they lift more they lift Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, where our guys that are not in the developmental group, they lift Sunday and Tuesday, primarily getting ready for a game. That's the biggest difference. On home games, they also get a fourth workout on Friday morning, more explosive type stuff. This week was a great opportunity for them because they got to get more football coaching. And, you know, part of you're in that group, but you're also having to simulate the opponent that we have coming up. So you guys, certainly you, Chuck, more than anybody, see me at practice. A lot of my time is spent, if you watch, with the scout team. Again, it's all the developmental theme. It also helps our offense and defense. So I'm trying to remind them, yes, you're running a card, but you can still use our fundamental beliefs. You can step and strike and bend your knees and do all the things that we believe in while running Western Kentucky's card. So a lot of that is going on through the course of practice. But this week they got to be coached with the fundamentals and individual and all those things. The other part is on Sundays, coming out of a game, now we had a little, because we got back so late from Wyoming and then a short week, we lost a couple Sundays of this, but in a normal rhythm, normal game weeks on Sundays, those kids will come out in full pads and we'll have a developmental scrimmage, what used to be called a different name, but I really am trying to get the kids to get rid of that name because this is a big deal. This is a big thing happening. This is a developmental opportunity, so we'll have developmental scrimmages on Sunday evening.
Who was impressed out of that group so far?
Greg Howell, extremely impressive. Ray Ellis, extremely excited about his progress. Chris Harris had plateaued early, but has recently really climbed, working my way through position. Stoshak, young Stoshak, is someone who is doing a nice job as far as working in the weight room. Josh Kendall really impressed me yesterday with his strength in the weight room. I didn't know that he had that in him. We had a lot of guys that got PRs yesterday, and it's the middle of the season. So that'll give you a little bit of a PRs being personal record. Help you back there. Okay. Did you know that? Don't let me forget about that too. I do want to hit on that. Not the pink shirt, the breast cancer awareness. I'll hit it now while I'm on the topic. What's that?
What did you say about breast cancer awareness?
No, but I'll say what we're going to do. The kids will have the option to wear pink wristbands. I do believe in some respects it's become a little bit more fashion than statement for a cause. So I'm going to give the kids the opportunity. If you really want to be a part of the cause, we got pink wristbands. So just so you guys know that. If you're looking for pink spats and socks and all that, we're going to go pink wristbands if they want to. Lost track. What were we talking about? The developmental guys. Yep, developmental guys. D-line, Hunter Snyder, let me go to Nick Richardson. He's put on over 20 pounds, which he needed, and we anticipated because of his bone structure that he would have that chance. Sifo, his what we call the posterior chain, his hamstrings to lower back to all that back there, which really is where your strength comes from. Sifo, while he's strong in the front half, his back half needed a lot of strength, and that is starting to come a long way. Those are just some kids off the top of my head, but that whole group, it was the funnest part for me yesterday. It was one of the first times I felt you go in there and the energy, it's been good. It's been really good, but yesterday was on a different level. I mean, it was walking into a weight room where you had no choice but to get caught up in the energy. Guys running from one squat rack to the other to cheer a squat rack on. 20 guys around a squat rack as a kid is going up and down. It's a fun thing to see right now. It's a big deal.
I know you mentioned how last week. I mean, what are the chances that you might pull the red shirt for Saturday's game, or is that still being evaluated?
It's still being evaluated, so it's still a possibility. I think we'll really know more by Saturday.
Could you assess Quez first half of the season?
Boy, he's had one interception, right? I mean, he's been extremely productive. He's run the ball well. He, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 turnovers, right? Unfortunately, 2 of them in the end zone, the Wyoming one and the pass at FIU. I'm missing one. Is there a third? That's right, UTSA. That's right. When the kid came back, made a great play. The two really.
There was 2 at FIU.
What was the second one at FIU? Right. So 2 strip fumbles.
3 fumbles, I think.
3 fumbles. Yeah, the Wyoming one, the 2 strip fumbles, UTSA and FIU, and then the pick in the red zone. In 5 games. You'd like to eliminate certainly the Wyoming one. I got to give credit to the 2 kids on the strip for those. He was in motion. So you can give credit to FIU, and you can give credit to a great play by number 50, the left end at UTSA. It was a big time play. Then the pick it's a fade ball. It's throw it up and maybe a little more air on it, maybe a little more outside where only our guy could get it. Quez's leadership, Quez's ability to run the ball as a threat. He's throwing the ball pretty darn good. I'm excited about where he is right now, and there's a drop here or there that his stats go that much more through the roof in terms of what he could be at right now. I'm excited about his progress. He's playing well.
We see now Caleb.
Caleb Woods. He's just got to continue to grow up, which he has come a long way. And fortunately, as I say that, that's on the field. He off the field in the past, he's been immature. And I actually look back and went at it today. Since August 28th, we haven't had anything in terms of him being a minute late, a second late, nothing. That's a big deal for Caleb because schedule, time management, those kind of things were hard on him when I first got here with him. He's come a long, long way in that respect, and his grades reflect it right now. Now his maturity needs to carry over to the field in terms of performing consistently. He's extremely talented. I think he's got a chance to be a really good football player for us. Just got to continue to be consistent.
Did he ever catch at FIU? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I'd have to look back. You guys are quiet back there.
Call him on the pink shirt.
In the PR.
It's a rough day.
Feel free to ask, guys, if you got anything.
Offensively, why have you been so inconsistent? I mean, it seems at home,
With respect to,
I mean, passing the ball, sometimes it seems like Quez is not hitting a couple of his receivers, especially on the road.
can you give me an example of a game where you saw that? Because at FIU, I saw some balls in hands that we needed to make some catches. If you have a thought on which game you're thinking of, because that's a common, right? You look at the box score and you see this for this, and you immediately think, Quez had a rough game. Balls on target, we've got to make those catches, especially our guys, our dudes, right? Alex had a couple balls in his hand. Alex is a dude. Alex is a guy that has a very good chance of playing on Sundays. Challenging catches for Alex, he's got to make, and he will. We got to have our dudes making catches for him also. So in terms of consistency, again, it comes right back to what we talked about earlier, right? Which is we got to finish drives without turning the ball over. We move the ball. I looked at it today. Since after the first 2 games, we're averaging over 400 yards, right? So you look at the stats there, we are consistently getting better. We outgained FIU. We need to not turn the ball over.
Coach, is it safe to say that you're now going to go forward with Goal at the center and Lyons at right tackle at this point?
That is where we are right now. Yeah. Moving forward, yep. That's unless something were to change. Yeah, if we were to start tomorrow, that's where we'd be. And I got to give Braden a lot of credit. You know, and I think I have before. So if I have, forgive me, but I'm going to do it again. Braden moved to center because we needed him to move to center. Did a nice job. Did some nice things in the spring. Some things were challenging for him. He's a natural at right tackle. Never complained once. Never questioned the move. Just went in there and did what FAU needed. As Joe continued to get better each week and showed that he could do it at every bit as good a level as Braden, we give him a shot out at right tackle, and you recognize, and it was the first time I had the opportunity to see it live, that he's a natural at right tackle. So I got to give Braden a lot of credit there as a senior who did what Florida Atlantic needed him to do.
Jensen was saying earlier that Dukes was getting a lot of double coverage early.
Mm-hmm.
Has that changed, and are you expecting him to be more productive now that maybe that's moving over to Lucky more?
Yeah, I think we create some challenges for offense that way. I think it's hard for them to do that. If you have a couple options, if you double him with 2 back-end guys, you're light in the box, and you can start to jet sweep with Lucky. We do see that starting to creep. Now you go back to the most recent game, FIU was blitzing, right? That was their attempt to, and they did it, create success. I mean, they were able to force some turnovers. So I think it's going to vary game by game. This is a very multiple offense coming, but you have a threat in Jensen, you have a threat in Dukes, you have a threat in Lucky. Hopefully as Caleb continues to mature, you get a threat in Caleb. And Cameron Solomon is a guy who's earning our trust off the field, but also in special teams. That's a guy you're going to start to see start more on the 4 core units. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.